All right, my stats students, here we go. 1-5, displaying quantitative data using histograms. So this is the last section covering quantitative data and how you can present it. And histograms are pretty important. I think that um, of all the ways to display the data, histograms are something that you might see in the future. Okay. All right, so our first objective here is to make a histogram. So a histogram shows each interval as a bar. Heights of bars show frequencies or relative frequencies. This idea is super important, that for a histogram, each bar is an interval. Okay, so if you look down below here, we have a dot plot. Now, this dot plot shows every single individual data point as a dot, right? But over here, the histogram, notice that the shape is very similar, but you are grouping these dots into certain groups. So over here, this first bar, right, this one right there, is going from 1.5 to 1.75. So any dot in that range over here is in that first bar. So again, that'd be all the 1.5s, all the 1.6s, and all the 1.7s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So there should be 18 there. And notice, where does this bar stop? This bar stops at 18. Okay, so that's the idea of what a histogram does. Okay, notice it says for larger sets of data, grouping nearby values creates a cleaner picture for the distribution. So again, a lot of times first of all, you don't want to put every dot there. And number two, I think the bar graph or this histogram looks cleaner than the dot plot. Now notice that your histogram, the bars are touching. That is something different than a regular bar chart where there's some space between the bars. Okay, so some key ideas when making a histogram. Number one, 5 intervals is a good minimum. So that's one of your jobs when you do create the histogram. The stats app will do it for you, but sometimes you have to pick the proper intervals. Most of the time it defaults to the right one, but or the best choice. And then number two, you include the left-hand value in the interval. Notice that because the bars touch, they both end at a value. So this first bar ends at 1.75, but 1.75 is not in the first bar. 1.75 is in that bar. So that left hand value is in the interval that it starts with. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. So let's make one. Oh, sorry. I gotta erase the writing. Here we go. Okay. So this is example one. Which states do immigrants choose? How does the percent of foreign-born residents in your state compare to the rest of the country? The table presents the data for all 50 states in 2011. Make a frequency histogram to display the data. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a picture real fast because I do have to use the stats applet. So I'm taking my phone out and I'm taking a picture of all this just so I can see it without having to go back and forth. This is tedious, right? Because there are going to be 50 values we have to plug in, but we'll do our best. Okay, so I'm going to down screen this. I'm going to go to my stats applet, however you do it. All right, stats applets. Again, this is quantitative. We're doing one variable. So what are we measuring here? Let me go back and see. Percent of foreign-born residents in a state. All right, so that's what I'm going to write down. So percent of foreign-born residents. Okay. I can put per state, in a state, whatever. That's fine. Okay, one group of data, and here's where I get my phone out, and I'm going to type in 3.4, 6.2, 15.4. Again, this is going to take a little bit of time. It's all right. Just try not to make a mistake if you're doing it with me. This is the point where you could like pause or fast forward the video, and you could be doing it yourself. That'd be a good idea instead of just watching me, right? Or checking your text messages or whatever you're doing right now. 18.2, 5.9, 13.9, 4.6, 4.3, 6.7, 3.3. So that's my first column. Then I'm at 3.8, 3.3, 13.7, 14.9, 6.1, 7.4, 2.3, 4.1, 2.0, 6.2, 19.2, 5.3, 21.3. I guess you could listen to me too as I said out loud. 10.2. I did kind of stop for a second though. 22.2, 7.3, 2.4. Okay, and now the last column, 3.9, 5.5, 9.5, 5.9, 13.5, 4.7, 2.9, 4.7, 16.5, 8.4, 3.9, 11.1, 13.4, 1.3, 4.8, and 2.9. Okay, I got all my data in. I'm going to begin analysis. Now notice down here in the summary statistics, n equals 50. That means I did input 50 numbers. I want to change the graph type from a dot plot to a histogram. Okay, so notice here, when it populates the histogram, again, you have a choice of frequency or relative frequency. I said frequency, okay? Then your interval width. So right now, your width's 5%. Say I wanted to change that to 10%. And again, the entry value, boundary value is the first value. So we're going to still stay with 0. So watch what happens when oh, look, it did it for me. When it reset, now notice that's only 3 bars. So that's not good enough. So instead of going by tens, let's go by 5. And there we go. Okay. I could go by 2.5s if I guess. There I go. I get a different picture. But again, we're going to talk about in the next objective that sometimes you get a cleaner look depending on your boundary value or your interval width value. Okay. So I'm gonna right click that, copy it. I'm gonna come over here and hopefully paste it right next door. Yep. And I'll make it a little bit smaller so it fits. And there is your histogram for this data. Now, again, the one downfall is that you don't get to see every value, but again, you get to see intervals of value and how they compare. All right, great. Objective 1, objective 2 is coming now.